Recall that we recently studied the Sutram 33126, which says Ishadussushu krichra krichrartheshu khal. And the meaning of this Sutram is the affix khal is used following a verbal root when in composition with either Ishat or Dur, Dus or Su, used in the sense of difficulty or ease. And we saw the examples Sulabhaha from the Gita as well as Dushprapaha. Now let us take a Sutram which prescribes a Apavadaha to the affix khal in the case of certain verbal roots. This Sutram we're going to take now is 33128. The anuvritti of Ishadussushu krichra krichrartheshu comes down from 33126 down to 33128. The Sutram 33128 simply says Ato Yucha, and the vritti is of course what we would expect, which is Ishadussushu dukha sukhartheshu papadeshvato yucha, which means that the affix yucha is used following a verbal root ending in a. Why ending? Because of the Paribhasha Sutram Yena Vidhistadantasya, which we are familiar with. That Sutram says a qualifier by means of which an injunction is made stands for a term which ends in it as well as for itself. So here what we have in this Sutram Ato Yuch, that Ato is qualifying Dhatoho. We are of course in the Adhikara of Dhatoho, which started all the way back from 3191 and goes to the end of chapter 3 of the Ashtadhyayi. So, Ataha is qualifying Dhatoho. Therefore, the meaning becomes following a verbal root ending in the letter A. Then what happens? The affix Yuch is prescribed, but when in composition with either Ishat or Dur, Dus or Su, used in the sense of difficulty or ease. So, everything is same as we saw in the Sutram 33126, except that 33128 prescribes the affix Yuch as an exception to the affix Khal prescribed by 33126, and 33128 only applies in the case of verbal roots which end in the letter A. The note here simply says Khalopavadaha. The affix Yuch prescribed by this Sutram is Apavadha to the affix Khal prescribed by 33126. Because 33126 was a general prescription. It applies to any verbal root. This one applies in the subdomain of that. 33128 only applies in the case of a verbal root ending in the letter A. So that is how this affix Yuch becomes the Apavadha to the affix Khal. Let's take an example here. Supanam Visham Shankarena, which means that poison is easy to be drunk by Lord Shiva, which means that Lord Shankara finds it easy to drink poison. Sukhena piyate iti supanam. Sukhena piyata iti supanam. So that which is drunk easily is supanam. Supana is derived from the verbal root papane in composition with su. Now recall that just like the affix khal, this affix yuch may only be used bhavakarmanoho because of 3470. Tayoreva krityakta khalarthaha. Sutram says khalarthaha. Not only khal, but any affix in the meaning of khal may be used only bhavakarmanoho. This affix yuch is applied in the same meaning as that in which khal is applied. So therefore this affix yuch may only be used in the passive. Derivation is quite straightforward here. We start with su plus pa plus yuch. By the Sutram Ato Yuch, we do have a verbal root ending in akaraha. So therefore the affix yuch comes in. Now the term Ishadussushu, which comes as anuvritti into 33128 from 33126. Ishadussushu krichra krichrartheshu khal. That term ends in the seventh locative case, hence su gets the upapad-sञ here by Tatropapadam Saptamistham 3192. These steps are all the same as those when we use the affix khal. So now we get su, pa, yuch, remove the ending it letter, chakara syet sanya by halantyam tasya lopaha, we get su, pa, yu. The chakara as a it is only for intonation in the Veda, swarartha. In the classical language there is no intonation, so it doesn't affect what we are doing here. So we get su, pa, yu. In place of yu, bring in the substitution ana by 711. Yuvoranakav. And as per the Paribhasha Sutram, anekalchi Sarvasya 155. U is replaced entirely by ana. And then we use akasavani dirgha between pa and ana to get su plus pana. And now, same as we did before, we form the compound between su, which is the upapadam, and pana using the sutram 2219 upapadam ating. And here su is the upapadam, hence it gets the upasarjana sanya by 1243. Pratama nidishtam samas upasarjanam. In the samas vidhayaka sutram, upapadam ating. Upapadam is pratama nidishtam. It ends in the pratama vibhakti. So therefore, su, which is the upapadam, gets the upasarjana sanya by 1243. And hence in the compound, su is placed in the prior position as per 2230 upasarjanam purvam. And we get the form supana, which gets the pratipadika sanya by krit tadita samasascha.